If you're looking to buy a stacked NBA 2K account with max badges and more, visit sportstmb.com. He has been in the community for years and has hundreds of reviews. Click the first link in the description to get your account today.
Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it. Also, a few quick things before we start. First of all, check out the newest episode of the Hoops Cast. The link to it on YouTube and Spotify will be in the description and in the pinned comment. And check out episode 2 of the Hawks My GM. It will be in the card above. I might not have it out by the time this video is out. It depends on how that lines up. And finally, please go check out my latest video on Scottie Pippen. It didn't do as well as I anticipated, and I was very proud of it. I think I made some good points, so go give it a watch. Today, I wanted to talk about the greatest single championship teams in NBA history. When looking at the grand scope of things in the NBA, dynasties tend to take the focus of most fans. Single championship teams are more of an afterthought. When you think of the 60s, you think of the Bill Russell Celtics, not the 67 Philadelphia 76ers with Wilt Chamberlain. When you think of the 80s, you think of Bird's Celtics and Magic's Lakers, not the 83 Sixers with Julius Erving and Moses Malone. When you think of the 90s, you think of Jordan's Bulls, not Hakeem's Rockets with Clyde Drexler or the young Duncan Spurs. 2000s, it's the Shaq and Kobe Lakers as well as the just Kobe Lakers, not as much the 08 Celtics, 06 Heat, or 04 Pistons. And 2010s, you think the Warriors or the Big Three Miami Heat, not as much the 2011 Mavericks or the 2019 Raptors. And that's fair enough. Dynasties kind of demand your attention. That's just the nature of being a dominant team. However, I don't think it's fair to overlook those single championship teams. In fact, I can find them to be more interesting a lot. Because generally speaking, everything had to fall into place in order for those teams to win, or something unprecedented had to happen. So let's go back and look at every single championship team in NBA history and rank them. It's important to add some context to what I mean by single championship teams. First of all, I obviously don't mean franchises that have just one championship. But for it to count as a single championship team, I need the team to be fundamentally different from another team with similar enough players that won a championship. Like, let's take the 95 Rockets, for example. I feel that team was just different enough with the addition of Clyde Drexler that it makes it separate from the team that won in 1994. I feel the 99 Spurs were different enough from the 2003 Spurs for them to count as a single championship team. The 99 Spurs had Duncan and a still pretty damn good David Robinson. The 03 Spurs had young Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Steven Jackson, and a not very good David Robinson. Those teams are separate to me, but like the 2005 Spurs, they had Manu and Tony and Duncan, so I think they were similar enough to the 2003 Spurs. I hope you understand what I mean. Also, I'm going to be ranking these teams by their actual talent rather than the impressiveness of the run that they went on. Granted, how good their run was will probably factor into how good I actually think the team was. So let me lay out every team that I have deemed a single championship team, and I'll rank them from 10 to 1. Also, I'm going from the 60s on forward. Sorry, Rochester Royals, but no one really cares about you. So here are all the single championship teams. The 67 Sixers, the 72 Lakers, the 75 Warriors, the 78 Washington Bullets, 79 Supersonics, 83 Sixers, 95 Rockets, 99 Spurs, 04 Pistons, 06 Heat, 08 Celtics, 2011 Mavericks, 2015 Warriors, 2016 Cavs, and 2019 Raptors. So that is 15 single championship teams, and we need to cut out 5 to make a top 10. First off, I am cutting out the 78 Washington Bullets because that team did not even win 50 games that year, and they somehow won a championship because the 70s were just a trash era. The 79 Supersonics as well, they had some good players, but they weren't anything crazy. I don't think any of their players were in my top 50 list. The 75 Warriors also don't make the cut. After Rick Barry, that team gets real suspect. And they also didn't even win 50 games, but won a championship. I have to take out the 06 Heat because similar to the Warriors, that was really a one-man show, especially in time for the finals. And then last to get cut has to be the 2019 Raptors. I loved that team, I enjoyed that playoff run, but I'm not going to sit here and act like they would win if the Warriors were fully healthy. That just simply was not happening. It puts a decent enough sized asterisk next to that championship, so that's why I have to cut them. So that leaves us with the 67 Sixers, 72 Lakers, 83 Sixers, 95 Rockets, 99 Spurs, 04 Pistons, 08 Celtics, 2011 Mavs, 2015 Warriors, and 2016 Cavaliers. And coming in at the 10 spot, I have the 2015 Warriors, as they just barely make it over the 2019 Raptors. I just chose the Raptors to get cut because, one, I think this Warriors team was more talented, and because I think KD and Clay being out is more detrimental to that championship than Kyrie and Kevin Love being out. But this team is often forgotten about because of the success of the teams that followed them, and that's for good enough reason. But it's not like this was a bad team. They won 67 games for God's sakes. They are tied with 7 other teams for the 7th most wins in a regular season ever. And even though this run is dismissed because of injury, they still got the job done. Next, I have the 04 Pistons. Now, in terms of talent, this team does not blow it out of the water. However, they played well enough as a unit that I feel comfortable putting them over the Warriors. Because of the lack of talent, I can't really put them any higher. As for the reason why they're above the Warriors, it's simply the cohesion of the team and the fact that their championship has 0 asterisks by it. They played one of the greatest dynasties of all time in the finals, and they demolished them. Again though, I'm not ranking them higher because that was more impressive. I just think that highlights how good that team was. At 8, I have the 72 Lakers. This was a pretty talented team. Gail Goodrich is underrated as hell. However, they faced a 78-win Knicks team in the finals, and Wilt on this team wasn't his old dominant self. He was more used as a DeAndre Jordan type of guy. At 7, I have the 2011 Mavericks, which I know is going to be viewed as pretty low to a lot of people. But from here on out, for the rest of this list, we have very talented teams that also don't have an asterisk next to their championship. And I just feel every team I have above this one is just more talented, and their runs weren't any less impressive than the one this team went on. Simply put, this team was constructed of a bunch of really good players like Jason Kidd, Tyson Chandler, Jason Terry, and Sean Marion around one superstar in Dirk. So because of that, I have them at 7 because these other teams have better rosters overall. Now 6, I have the 08 Celtics. I do wish this team would stop talking like they were a dynasty. However, I can't deny that they were really talented, and they came pretty close to winning more after this one. It was injuries that made this team a single championship team. At 5, we have the 67 76ers, who might be the most interesting team in NBA history for the lesson that this team taught the league. The way the 67 Sixers managed to win their championship was by telling their best player Wilt Chamberlain to shoot the ball less, despite him being the most efficient player and obviously the highest point producer. In the season prior to this one, Wilt averaged 34 points a game on 54% shooting, which was 9% better than the highest shooting percentage on the team. How could you possibly justify the guy averaging 34 on by far and away the best efficiency on your team shooting the ball less? Well, Alex Hannum, the new coach of the Sixers, thought it would improve how the team played as a unit. The problem was, because Wilt Chamberlain in the post just seemed to be the clear best play for every possession, the other players on the team would really just be delegated to sitting there and watching Wilt Chamberlain play one-on-one. So because of that, every time it was called upon the other players to score the ball, it didn't go as well as it should have. Part of the reason that 45% from the field was the second best shooting efficiency on this team was because Wilt's play style hurt the efficiency of his teammates. So in 67, Wilt averaged just 24 points, but brought in 8 assists and nearly shot 70% from the field. With Wilt taking less shots, he cut out some of the bad shots, which allowed him to shoot so well. And then the other players on this team were much better offensively themselves. 3 players outside of Wilt averaged 18 plus points this year. 5 in total averaged double digits. The season before this, only 1 player outside of Wilt averaged 18 plus points, and only 3 players in total outside of Wilt averaged double digit points. So spreading out the touches and playing more as a team got the 67 Sixers their championship. I know I spent a lot of time on this team, but they're just really damn interesting. 4, I have the 99 Spurs. You can't deny Duncan and the Admiral. There isn't much else to say here. The team was dominant. They also had Avery Johnson and Sean Elliott. At 3, I have the 83 Sixers, one of the most forgotten teams in NBA history. This team had Julius Erving and Moses Malone, as well as Mo Cheeks and Andrew Toney, who averaged 20. This team actually had 3 players averaging 20 plus. This team was dominant, winning all but 1 game in the playoffs against the Milwaukee Bucks. 2, I have the 95 Rockets. Now, I do understand some people not viewing this as a single championship team, but I think Clyde Drexler made them different enough. Because even though they did not win as many regular season games with Drexler, they proved themselves in the playoffs to be a better team with Clyde the Glide. The duo of him and Hakeem was dominant, and they won a championship as the 5th seed, the only team to ever do that, also running into amazing teams at every turn. First round, a 60-win Jazz. Second round, 59-win Suns. Conference finals, 62-win Spurs. The finals, they played the 57-win Shaq and Penny Magic. Truly one of the best finals runs ever. And at 1, I have the 2016 Cavaliers, who basically run away with this one by default. They beat a 73 Warriors team after going down 3-1. Regardless of all the breaks that they caught to close out that series, that was still insanely impressive. This team could have been a dynasty themselves if it wasn't for KD going to the Warriors. This core certainly could have won more championships, but because of KD, they fit into the single championship category, and they just have to win here. So to summarize, I have the 2015 Warriors 10th, 04 Pistons 9th, 72 Lakers 8th, 11 Mavericks 7th, 08 Celtics 6th, 67 Sixers 5, 99 Spurs 4, 83 Spurs at 3, 95 Rockets 2, and 2016 Cavs 1st. So those are the greatest single championship teams in NBA history ranked. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.